Good morning everyone. Just wanted to show you or to give you a brief insight of when we're measuring somebody's feet, particularly a lady for the police or for the military, just the sort of things that we look or what I look for, because you know, width, what socks, insoles, all the kind of thing, just to give you an idea of what it's like and the things that you need to consider when you're thinking about purchasing some boots. And I know I've sort of aimed it probably more at the police stroke military. So this morning I have the lovely tail in here, and I'm just going to have a quick look just to give you an idea of what I would look for. I'm not saying it's 100% right, it's just something that we do and we look at. So I think we've mentioned about the Brannock device before, so that's a kind of device that we use. It gives me a guide, so it gives me a guide on the length and the width, really simple like that. Okay, so that's what I would do. I like using this device is because, particularly with Altberg, this is pretty much their bread and butter for their lasts and for their boots, so I know it's, you know, it's pretty accurate. But also as well, it doesn't, you know, when we look at here and when we look at people's feet, it really is about just sort of them trying different ones on. This gives me a good idea on the width and, you know, the kind of requirement that the customer's looking for, and then we can sort of go from there really. But at the end of the day, you know, the customer generally makes a decision on what feels good based on, you know, what they're wearing and what sort of role they're doing and all the rest of it. So we'll give you a bit of an idea. So I'm going to ask Taylor just to quickly whip her shoes off a minute. And yeah, and it doesn't matter what socks she's wearing. I can see that she's got quite narrow feet, which is quite normal for a female. And obviously she's just wearing some very thin socks at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll just put this under her right foot a minute, and she can slip her heel to the back, and then it gives me some idea. So the first thing which I asked is, when was the last time you had your feet measured? And Taylor said it was a while ago. Yes. Okay, so I've just measured her on this as a size 6 on her right foot, and if we go to the left foot as well, and I can see it's about the same size. Now width is not a problem because she's quite narrow. So when I look at her feet, I know that as soon as we put the socks on, because what we generally do is try and work this for the kind of socks that the customer's going to be wearing. So this will give you an idea on the difference in socks. If I ask Taylor just to put these socks on a minute quickly, and we'll remeasure, and again this just gives us an idea, and it gives the customer an idea of just how that changes. Now this is just like a medium weight Bridgedale, and it's a kind of thing that is generally worn, this kind of thing. So what we'll do, I'll remeasure now, so I'll go right foot first again, and we'll go to the heel. So that's gone over a size 6, and if I ask Taylor to stand up, it would spread down a little bit more. Okay, so that's obviously given us a lot more volume. And this is the kind of thing we'd want. It's no good me measuring with a very thin sock on, and Taylor puts on the boots and walks around, and then when she decides on them, she then tries a thicker sock on and it doesn't fit. Okay, so let's take that off there. So what I look for is obviously the heels, because on particularly the blue line police boots, they've got a heel cup, and that sort of locks the heel into place. So I don't want too much movement from the heel, because if you get a lot of movement from the heel, it's obviously going to cause some issues with blistering and things like that. Also we think about insoles. Are we going to be putting insoles in? So basically I would normally go out now and just get some, say, size 6s and some 6.5s, and I would let the customer walk around in them just to see how they feel, so that they can base their decision on, you know, the two sets of boots. Now there's approximately 4 millimeters between the half sizes, approximately, and obviously we take into consideration when your feet get hot, they might expand a little bit. The leather is probably quite stiff to start with, so we think about them actually giving a little bit. Okay, so what I get Taylor to do now is put the boots on. We've selected the blue lines because I think that's probably the one that's more appropriate for what she will be looking for. Obviously it's got a heel cup, which we like because obviously it locks your heel in. It's a bit wide at the forefront, so it gives you lots of room for when you're walking. So that's, you know, but it could be the Peacekeeper P1. You know, we'll try 2 or 3 on. Now I'll try 2 sizes or possibly 3, depending on the socks and whereabouts we are with how she feels. So I'll just get her to whip this one on, and all I generally do is I'll do the first one up just to see. So we centralise the tongue, and basically all I do is start off at the bottom and just make this up tighter, not too tight that it's uncomfortable, but just to take the slack off and to make it secure. Now straight away I know that Taylor's ankle is going to feel quite secure in there. There's ways you can tap it your foot down and all the rest of it to get your ankle down, but generally that will be okay. So I don't go too mad on doing it up too tight. I don't want to cut the circulation off. And what we'll do is we will get the customer to walk around in these boots for a good sort of 5 minutes. Now I've just done it up basically, okay, so for those of you that are watching, yes, there are loads of other ways of doing it. So I'll get Taylor to walk around these for 5 minutes just to see how she feels. She generally makes a decision within the first few seconds, minutes of putting them on, whether it's comfortable or not, or whether it's the right size or not. And then we can base that on 2 to 3 sizes, which you can try to feel that what's most comfortable for her, for the role she's doing. So yes, we would generally, if somebody uses an insole, we'll get the insoles here as well, so we can actually, you know, have it exactly how it will be, because I don't want you know, to be too much room on heel, so we've got heel movement or heel lift, because that's going to cause an injury and discomfort. And we obviously, you don't want any other changes that's going to cause a problem to your feet. So I appreciate it's very, very difficult that when you're buying something online, you know, there's so many things to consider, and you possibly not had your feet measured for ages and what kind of device and that. So I mean, hopefully this has given you an idea of how we do it and the kind of things that we think about when measuring somebody's foot, what socks are wearing, insoles, and the kind of foot shape and what lasts depending on what role they're doing. It's very important, but the most important thing is really based on size. The actual customer generally makes the decision on what size, because it's how they feel. You know, we can only advise and go, look, we possibly think you might be that one, but it's down to you at the end of the day. You know, I do not want ankle movement. I don't want something where it's going to be uncomfortable. And I know we've always got our sort of fingers crossed in some ways, because we don't know how a customer is going to be affected with a boot in 3, 6, 12 months time. We want the boots to last for ages, and to do what you want them to do. So hopefully that'll give you a bit of an insight on how we would do it. And you know, it's basically having time with a customer that they can try things on and walk around, and then that obviously gives them the confidence that they're getting the right size. Look, I hope that helps, and you know, particularly for you lot that may be thinking about purchasing from you know, that are not in the shop, that don't get the opportunity to go and try these boots on. Sometimes it's a good idea to purchase 2 pairs and then send one back. So I hope that helps. If there's any questions, don't hesitate, just pop them in the comments, and we'll see if we can get to you all. So there you go, have a good one. Please subscribe if you don't. Lots of people watch the videos but they don't subscribe. It really does help if you do subscribe to us and support, and hopefully we can grow the channel more to obviously provide you the best content we can for future purchases. Okay, so thanks very much. See you all later. Bye bye.